Kanye is big.
Kanye's big.
What do
I
you
just completely agree with everything he says.
Yeah, I mean, well, we clearly like mentally deranged. This is just a musician.
What should we talk about to like get views that everyone's talking about? What do you think? Kanye.
Right now, Kanye is big.
Kanye's big.
What do you think about Kanye?
I can't say anything that Kanye hasn't already said. That I just completely agree with everything he says.
Yeah, I mean, well, we could say what people.
I was hoping you'd let that go.
I mean, there's the conversation around Kanye.
Yeah.
And it's people. It's funny that we're taking him seriously. I'd be
best-
listening to
yeah.
him as he's like the most talked about guy right now. I'm like, bro,
He's
this is just a
he's
fucking musician.
psycho.
This is just a musician.
Yeah, he's also
Why
just
are we
a
listening to
musician.
him talk about fucking politics or anything?
I watched this cool video about Kanye right now, and there's this thing where they do all this with Kanye stuff, and they're talking about it, and then they cut to a clip of Malcolm X going like, he's like, basically Malcolm X's whole point was like, certain black celebrities were being lauded as like these political figures and they were musicians and actors and and he's like, this is like the 60s too. He's like, can you imagine that being the case for white people? That everyone's like, whoa, what's the fucking piano player think?
Yeah.
And you're
I'm
like,
sure there's a lot of.
now I don't think it's as true, but I think back then it was more of a black thing because like the only way black people got famous was like being an athlete or being a musician or you know what I mean? Like there wasn't
even back then though. John Lennon was a fucking
right.
I think peace and love bullshit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if that was before.
But I mean I hear what he's saying, but it's also just funny to me that this video is in context with like. It was like Kanye West is even in the same conversation as like Malcolm X. Like,
Right. It's insane.
It's just, well, not only is Kanye just a musician, but he's also clearly like mentally deranged.
Yeah.
Because some Jew told him he was.
Did you see that video?
Yeah, that's like a lot of what he talks about. Yeah.
He is so accidentally hilarious.
He's sometimes on purpose. Sometimes he'll just be saying some shit.
Bro,
Like, all right.
did you see the Lex Friedman one?
Yeah, where he's like, and they're all jealous of me because of my huge cock. So it's like clearly he's joking about that.
Yeah, I mean the one part that got me pretty good was I'm trying to remember. I think Lex Friedman is going he's going, but in a deep sense, in a deep, philosophical sense, we're all the same, right? We're all humans. And it cuts to Kanye and he goes, brah, 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 brah.
Yeah.
And you're like,
No, there's a few moments where
like,
he starts singing.
I just wanted you to have like a little music for your little moment. I was like, yo, what the fuck, dude? This guy's so fucking funny. God damn it, dude.
He's the best, dude.
So funny.
I don't know. I mean, yeah,
No,
it's
he's
like
a-
he is breeding hate and stuff.
No, he's saying horrible things, and I saw a psychological breakdown of him, like of like clips from him on Tucker Carlson. I think that's the best video I've seen around Kanye, and it's just this psychologist being like, okay, well, like he's exhibiting symptoms of grandiosity, and here's how he's being grandiose, and then he's being narcissistic. Here's how he's being narcissistic. He has extremely scattered, abstract ways of thinking that often don't really make sense. Here's an example of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so clear that he's mentally ill.
I think those three things just line up precisely with the main thing of what makes Kanye so confusing and so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like he's a very abstract, artsy guy.
Mm-hmm. Everything is about God.
Everything's about God, and like he's making these weird tangential connections that only make sense in his head. Mm-hmm. And then grandiose.
Regular people, interviewers have to make sense of it, and that's why it's so.
Yeah, it's not. It's you're starting incomplete. It's like if I spoke Chinese, which would be awful if I did.
Yeah,
it's a disgusting language. But if I was gonna, and you spoke a little Chinese but mostly English, and then you're like, wow,
yeah.
What are you gonna get out of this? Just get someone who speaks
Chinese.
Chinese.
If it was in an artistic context, then you have like an artistic interviewer kind of on the level
it makes
of trying
sense
to understand, and he's like, wow, this guy's kind of a genius.
Yeah, if you're looking
he's
at
got these absurd thoughts.
The genesis of like where he's making things, it's like very interesting to see like what was your thought process before you made
And then he's like, well, you see God and Kim Kardashian are actually on the same coin, or then
like, you'd be like, yo, that's sick, that's so cool,
or it's so kind of hard to wrap your head around, or hard to like relate to the thoughts that he's having.
Yeah,
because we have normal brains.
Yeah,
and that you'd kind of fill in the gaps with like, I just don't understand him.
Yeah, or you just in this gap between his thought and most people's thought, you label that genius.
Whereas everybody now
Walt
is
Disney.
Yeah, Walt Disney, Shakespeare.
Yeah.
You know that movie Wreck-It Ralph? You know that girl, she was the glitch. You telling me I ain't the motherfucking glitch?
Yeah, so he's the motherfucking glitch.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got these, instead of everybody going, we don't understand him, that's kind of cool. Instead, we're all trying to understand him.
Well, because he's trying to make political points.
It's bizarre,
and he's trying to make like points about Judaism. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's just this ain't your lane. You know what I mean? Like,
and
write
he
a
gets
poem about your
frustrated that
life.
people can't understand him. It's like, bro,
Exactly.
you're not having regular conversations here.
Yeah, that was another thing that psychological thing pointed out, is that like it's a lot of what he's doing in the media right now is his lashing out for probably a worsening of his mental illness, and then when that happens to you, you inevitably alienate the people around you. And
he's saying that he's off drugs.
Yeah,
that he's not taking these drugs, and
Yeah.
that a Jew gave. That's a very
it was a Jewish doctor.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, dude. It's just like crazy that, I mean, I was convinced for a little bit.
Yeah.
That he was going to be the nominee, like that
for president.
In terms of, I was looking at the cycle of news around him and just comparing it to what Donald Trump was doing, and the fact that, I mean, obviously Donald Trump wasn't as mentally deranged.
No, he's not.
He clearly knew more about what he was doing there. Kanye West thing is all just a little incidental.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was like, yeah, I mean, if he runs, we're not going to be talking about any other candidate.
Yeah,
it's just going to be Kanye. It's going to be the Kanye circus.
Yeah, probably.
And the
It'll
more
thing.
crazy stuff he says, the more we talk about him, and then all of a sudden he's president.
Yeah, the same thing kind of happened with Trump too, but it was this thing of like, he was so scoffed at the beginning that it kind of like galvanized like a base.
Yeah, I mean, definitely his vibe connected with a lot of people's vibes that was unspoken. But that was very intentional in terms of like, he could see that people wanted a wall, so he just kept pushing the wall.
Right, it's Machiavellian. Like with Kanye, I don't think he has the critical faculties to like stick within any kind of like, subversive plan the way Trump did.
And I don't think he has the same type of narcissism that Trump did.
Well, I think he has the same kind of narcissism, but he's just like,
I don't know. I think Trump has this thing of like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me because I'm not like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's
psychological
just,
stuff.
Yeah, it's like Trump, I feel, had this thing of like, yeah, I want people to love me, so I'm gonna say whatever it is to get people to love me.
Yeah.
And the people that do love me, I'm gonna push more till that, and I'm gonna push in that direction. Whereas Kanye, I feel like, isn't as willing to fall in line with what people love just to.
He's like contrarian, like if anything. Yeah, he like
he's gonna
says
push
the opposite.
Harder,
yeah. It becomes this like. Trump had the us versus them thing like very down, like make a common enemy of the left.
And he hated the left.
He hated the left, and he hated the what did he call it? Like the swamp. You know, he had these like little idioms for the
and he maybe is just a little bit more coherent.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, and I think that's boils down to Trump being like more linear thinking, whereas you have Kanye who's so scatterbrained and like abstract and artsy and weird and kind of out there, you know, whereas Trump is like, I like the song YMCA because other people like it, and I will play it. That's why I play the YMCA song.
Hey, my African American. Look at him. Yeah, no, I'd
kiss him. Did you ever see him say that? No. He goes, I'd kiss him, but I'm not going to. Should I? He said something like that about kissing a guy. He's like, a lot of people, I'd love to kiss you. I'd kiss the men too. No, I wouldn't, would I? It's like some like coy thing.
I mean, Trump looking back was kind of funny.
Trump's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, Trump even looking back on is like a weird thing because it was so heated when he was there, and then now it's just like so old that it's almost.
You think
like
he's gonna get back on Twitter? I heard that somewhere.
That could be it. I wasn't really up on the Elon buying it. So Elon bought it and now he owns it.
I think so.
I think
it went through. I don't know.
I think it went through and changed something. And Ian said that the amount of times the N-word was used went up like 2,000%.
Yeah.
We won.